Okay, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. I tried making this video and I realized how awful my handwriting is, and because of that, um, I had to restart it, and you'll see I typed some stuff up that I tried writing by hand. So let's see how this goes. Bo is buying a board game which usually costs B dollars. The game is on sale and the price has been reduced by 18%. There are different ways of thinking about how to calculate Bo's final bill. Match the expressions to their meanings. So on this side, let's start writing out some of the expressions. For example, the first one. What is the original cost of the board game? Well, given to us, that is B. What is the amount of the discount on the board game? Well, 18% is the discount, but the amount of the discount is really 18% as a decimal times B, right? That's the amount of the discount. For example, if the board game's $100, you take 18% times 100 is $18. That's the amount, the dollar amount of the discount. And what is the final bill, the final amount that Bo pays? Well, he normally would pay B dollars minus that 18% of B is his final bill. All right, so before we reveal the answer choices, I want to also talk about this. Another way to think about Bo's, I guess, final bill is normally you pay 100% of the price of the item. But he has a discount, so you need to subtract 18% of that, which leaves us with 82% that he pays, right? So 82% of his final bill would be the decimal 0.82 times B. And if you think about it, this and that are equal to each other. 1B minus 0.18B is equal to 0.82 times B. So just something I wanted to kind of talk about before we looked at the different answer choices. So here are the answer choices we have to select from. Oops. So match the expression to their meanings. First, there's find the dollar amount of the discount and then subtract it from the original price. Well, is that this, the final bill, dollar amount of the discount subtracted from the original price? Yeah, that's exactly what this one is. Find the percent of the original price Bo has to pay, then convert the percent to a decimal and multiply to get your final price. Well, isn't that the second thing we did? He normally would pay 100%. Minus the 18% leaves us with 82%, so 82% of B. So that's also the final price. Now this one right here, does this have anything to do with the final price? I mean, I know it's mentioned up here, right? These two match each other, but the thing is, let me do it in green so we can see. This green and this green match each other, but that's just the amount of the discount, right? It's not anything, well, it's not the final price. It's a component of the final price. You take that away from the original, but in terms of these two, it's not a way to calculate the final price. And this last one is actually just a meaningless expression. B minus 0.18B, sorry, 0.18 would be like take the price and knock off 18 cents. It's much different than this, which is 18% of B. This is just B minus the decimal 0.18. So neither one of these apply. All right. Excuse me. This particular skill, guys, I'm going to warn you, is probably one of the tougher ones in probably in the entire year. But it's very important to know how to apply, you know, variables and expressions and things like that. Let's go to the next one. All right. Nadine is at an arcade. She started out with 18 tokens, and each game costs 3 tokens to play. Suppose X is the number of games Nadine has already played. Match the expression to their meanings. Each meaning may match more than one expression. So let's understand the situation. She started out with 18 tokens, and each game costs 3 tokens to play. X is the number of games Nadine has already played. So let's talk about this. Tokens available to Nadine. Well, oops, didn't mean to do that. Tokens available for Nadine to play. Well, we know that she started out with 18 tokens. All right. Next thing is, how many games can she play? Well, if it's 3 tokens per game, right, and she has 18 tokens, so 18 divided by 3 tokens per game means she can play a total of 6 games. How many games has she already played? Right. Well, X was given to us as the games she's already played. How many tokens has she already used? Well, this is a little, I mean, I don't want to say it's a little tough, but you have to actually think about what's going on here. If it's 3 tokens per game, per play, I should say, and she's already played X games, then hasn't she already used 3 times X? Let's look at the next one. How many games does she have remaining? Well, she can play a total of 6 games minus she's already played an X number of games, so 6 minus X is the games remaining. And how many tokens does she have remaining? All right, this one is, let's think just in terms of tokens. How many tokens did she start the day out with? She started with 18. And you subtract 3 tokens for every game she played, or the tokens already used, so you would subtract out 3 times X. Right? So these are all the different expressions. Now listen, I get it. This is, like, how do I know that I'm supposed to look for all this stuff? Well, I already knew what the answer choices were, but I wanted to kind of not confuse you by seeing all this at once. I wanted to kind of break it down into parts. So let's talk about this, right? The number of tokens Nadine has already used. Well, just using logic, and we can look back here also, but just using logic, she played X games times 3 tokens, which means 3 times X. That's how many tokens she already used. The number of tokens Nadine has left. Well, that's this bottom one, 18 minus 3X, right? 18 tokens she started out with, minus 3 times 3 tokens for every game. So 18 minus 3X is the number of tokens she has left. The number of games Nadine can play with the remaining tokens. Well, if you think about that, she can play how many more games? Well, she's already played 6. Sorry, she can play a total of 6 minus the number of games she's already played. So 6 minus X is the number of games remaining. Okay, so now it leaves us with this one, 18 minus X. Well, let's think about what 18 is. 18 is the number of tokens available, total tokens, minus X is the number of games already played. So tokens available minus games played. Doesn't make one's in terms of tokens, the other one's in terms of games, so that's none of these. Now this last one looks a little interesting, and I hope you guys can see, because I look at this and I say, wait a minute, what if I distribute? If I distribute, I get 18 minus 3x. Didn't we use 18 minus 3x already? Isn't that the number of tokens Nadine has left? Ah, that should make sense. If you think about it, 6 minus x is the number of games she has played. But if I multiply that, sorry, 6 minus x is the number of games she has remaining. But if you take the number of games she has remaining and multiply it by 3, that's how many tokens she has. She has 3 times the number of games she can play. So these two are mathematically identical, which is why these two are used twice. All right, let's try the next one. Camacho is buying a monster truck. The base price of the truck is X dollars, and he also has to pay a 13% monster truck tax at the time of purchase. There are different ways of thinking how to calculate Camacho's total bill. All right, so let's talk about it. The base price of the truck is a variable expression. It's X. The amount of tax that Camacho has to pay, well, he pays 13% of X, and the total amount he has to pay is going to be X plus 13% of X, right? That's the base price, that's the amount of the tax, and that's the amount paid. But another way to think about it is Camacho buys a truck. He's got to pay 100% of the price of the truck plus an additional 13% of the price of the truck, right, in tax. So he needs to pay 113% of the price of the truck, which is, as a decimal, 1.13 times X. Now, you may notice if I simplify, not simplify, but if I combine these like terms, 1x plus 0.13x, 1x plus 0.13 equals 1.13. So both of these are ways of calculating his final bill. So let's look at the choices here. This is find the dollar amount of the tax, then add it to the price before tax. Well, that's this one right here. That's the dollar amount of the tax plus the price before tax. All right. Find the percent of the original price Camacho has to pay, then convert the percent to a decimal and multiply to get your final price. Well, what percent does he have to pay? Well, he has to pay 100% of the price of the truck, plus 13% more is 113%. Convert that to a decimal is 1.13 times X. So this goes with that, right? Now, what about this one, 0.13x? Well, that's a final price. That's a final price. This is just the tax, so it's neither one of them. And this one is like the one we had in the first problem. It's a meaningless expression. It's the price plus 13 cents, 0.13, right? If we're not finding 13% of a number, this is not an amount. This is just, no matter what the price is, add 0.13 to it. So that's meaningless, all right? So I know these are tough, guys. If you need to pause and rewind and listen to what I have to say, please, please do so. One more in this skill. All right, Donovan eats 2 granola bars and a glass of orange juice for breakfast every day. The price of a granola bar is B, and the price of a glass of orange juice is J. There are different ways to thinking about how to calculate the total cost of breakfast for 7 days. So let's talk about this. The price of 1 granola bar is B. The price of 1 glass of orange juice is J, right? So in one day, he eats 2 granola bars, so that would be 2 times B, plus he eats 1 glass of orange juice, so 1J, right? 2B plus J. That's one day. And in 7 days, that would be 7 groups of 2B plus J, right? So let's see what it says here. We're talking about the cost of the breakfast for 7 days. So we could find the cost of a breakfast for one day and then multiply by 7. So this right here is the cost of breakfast for one day. Multiply it by 7. So 7 times 2b plus j. Well, I noticed right away they have the j backwards. So we should really look for 7 times j plus 2b. 7 times j plus 2b is right there, right? Now, find the number of glasses of orange juice and granola bars in 7 breakfasts and then add them up. So if you think about it, over 7 breakfasts, it's going to be 14. Let me try a different color here. Let's go with blue. In 7 breakfasts, he's going to have 14 bars, plus he's going to have 7 juices, right? They have the juices first, so let's do 7J plus 14B. So in 7 days, he's going to have 14 juices and 7 bars. That is, nope. 7 juices and 14 bars. 7 juices and 14 bars. That's what he's going to have. Now this one is backwards. The number of bars is 14 instead of 7. So this one is neither of these. And same thing here. If I distribute, I get 14J plus 7B. So these two, the first one and the last one, do not apply. So it's none of these. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video. I know this was a little bit of a longer one and a tougher one, but I promise you, you can do this.